So, has rookie Steph Castle hit the rookie wall, victim of the rotation, or something else?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back and hope you all having a great Friday. First Friday of the new year. So TGIF and have yourself a good one. What are we talking about today? We're going to be putting the spotlight Stephon Castle. What is up with him? His minutes have been dropping. They have been dropping of late. There was a recent game versus the Clippers where he got a lot of burn. But nevertheless, there's been an uptick or a downtick in playing time. Is this simply a rookie wall thing? Is a victim of rotation or in the doghouse? We're going to be discussing that. And then preview tonight's game. Spurs and Nugget. Yeah, Spurs kick off the new year on the road out in Denver. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here. Not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Yeah, so Stephon Castle, the minutes have been dropping of late, and you're seeing it already, not just in the numbers. We'll get into that in a while, but even in, recognition. The NBA rookie ladder, the latest edition, had Castle falling out of the top three, even out of the top spot. Yeah, he was at the top spot for a week there, and then now he fell out. He's at number 4 now. So, well, at least according to the NBA, their reason is because of the lack of production, efficiency. But they did say, hey, he had a good game versus the Clippers, but nevertheless, Spurs fans are seeing it too now. They're like, what's up with him? He was in the starting unit. Now he's on the bench. Look at the production. What's going on? Yeah, so we're going to try to sift through all this. Let's go to bring in our guest. He is back, everybody. Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. He's based in San Antonio. Make sure to follow him on X at Dominguez5. Raul, welcome back to Locked On Spurs, man.
Thank you for having me.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Hope you had some good holidays.
Yeah, I did. I was at the game for the New Year's Eve game versus the Clippers, and that was a laugher, man. We're done already. Yeah, it's like, okay. We left early. We left like, yeah, I mean, it was no point. It was Destruction City, man. But, and also to everybody, the reason Raul hasn't been back, because I've been kind of saving him, because I know there's a lot of road games coming up, and we go to him for road games. So, but Raul, let's go to dive into it, man. Stephon Castle. Yeah, strong start to the season, getting heavy minutes. We'll go into the numbers in a bit. You had websites that, model future projections are hands down the rookie of the year, Vegas rookie of the year. And then boom, numbers start dropping, minutes start dropping. Mentioned the NBA rookie ladder. He's out of the number 1 spot. He falls to number 4 now. What do you make of this? Is just this simply a rotation thing, rookie wall thing, or something bigger, like maybe in the doghouse?
Yeah, I think it's just rotation. Definitely not. I don't think it's the rookie wall. Usually, rookies start hitting the rookie wall like maybe January or February, like right around the All-Star break. You can start seeing signs of it. I definitely don't think it's that way for Castle. Castle's in great shape. He works really hard. I think it's just a minutes thing.
It's that, it was the return of Devin Vassell. And I had a lot of Spurs fans kind of come at me before Vassell returned from injury. I was asked, well, who are you going to pull off that starting 5? You're not going to let Champagnie go. Obviously, Victor's going to stay there. Duh, Chris Paul, sure, And I kept on saying, it's going to be Castle. It's going to be Castle. Oh, you're out of your mind. That's one of the best starting 5 units in the NBA. Castle's a huge reason on both ends of the court. Lo and behold, that's exactly what Mitch Johnson did. It was insert Vassell and come off bench Castle. Now, in the last game versus the Clippers, he was asked about that. And I believe Raul, he said, doesn't matter that he's starting or not, that he just wants to make an impact. So he's saying the right things.
Mm-hmm.
But is it just me, or is he's not adjusting well coming off that second unit? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it has to do with just his minutes. And I believe one game he had 8 minutes and another one I think he had 11. I think when he was in the starting lineup, he was obviously getting, big minutes. And I think that allowed him to be more aggressive and and you know, he was he knew being in that starting unit that he needed to score. I think in this other role, I think he doesn't sort of sense that he needs to score. I think he's trying to be a bit more unselfish and maybe just trying to do the right things, maybe just to get some more minutes. You know, I'm not sure if that's playing a part, but he's not as aggressive as he was in the starting unit. Again, he was looking to score as a starter, and now he's looking more to be a facilitator. So I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if he's just maybe trying to do the right thing, but you know, hopefully someone tells him, hey, you know, whether you're playing 8 minutes or you know 21, you know, we need you to score because he's a tremendous scorer. And then when he drives to the paint, if he doesn't score, you know, he's still able to make some great passes and get the offense rolling. So, you know, I think it's more of that. Just maybe his limited minutes, he's not quite sure what to do in those limited minutes.
Yeah. You can see the stark contrast in starting minutes versus bench minutes. So did a little homework here, Raul. So he's had 17 starts this season. And in those 17 starts, 14.6 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.1 steals. He's shooting about 40% in 30 minutes. So he was getting a lot of time on that court in the starting role. Now, off the bench, he's played 15 games off the bench, 6.9 points per game, 2.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, not even a steal. He's 0.6, 36% shooting, 19 minutes per game. He needs those minutes, man. And I mean, just look at that. Now, again, we talked about it earlier. He's saying the right things. You know, he's like, oh, you know, it doesn't matter if I start or not. But do you think that he needs to get back in that starting unit, or is this a permanent spot for him the rest of the season?
You know, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I think he needs to be a starter because I think he complements that group, the starting group really well, especially with Wemby. But at the same time, like who do you take out of that starting lineup? I mean, Devin, I feel like Devin needs to be starting because Devin's you know, great scoring option, and Devin doesn't have that 3-point shot, but he's got a great mid-range game, and the Spurs need that mid-range game as much as they need the 3-pointer, you know, because the mid-range game opens up the 3-point shot. You know, makes people, they have to be honest, a little bit more honest with Wemby. You know, they can't have 3 or 4 guys crash on them. But it's tough. You know, I was thinking about that. You know, once everyone got healthy, I knew it was going to be tough for rotations as far as the starting lineup. You know, Julian's out of there. You know, Julian was doing great in the starting lineup. You know, he's another guy that you kind of feel like needs to be in that starting lineup. But again, who do you take out?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe Harrison maybe gets moved to the bench.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great way to take our first break there. Yeah. What should the Spurs do? Is there an immediate need to go ahead and peel off Vassell? Well, we discussed that right now, but who are the candidates the Spurs can look at that starting five and say, you got to sit down? We're talking with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. Make sure to do that right now. But first, let's talk about FanDuel.
Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need and the place where to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So you get a hunch in the middle of a game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. Just visit FanDuel.com right now to join today. By the way, the app is very easy to use, user-friendly. It's very intuitive and not hard to navigate whatsoever. Sign up is easy. Hey, look, NFL action, as mentioned, is underway. NBA action is underway. Your Spurs are underway right now. What more do you need? Go to FanDuel.com right now to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. Again, $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All that takes is just for you to go and sign up right now. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
as the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Locked On Spurs with F. Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez of the EP Sports, following on X at Dominguez5. Make sure to do that right now. By the way, before we get into some more Stephon Castle talk here, Raul, I got to ask you, in the Bane versus Batman fight in the Nolan trilogy, I swear to you, Bane had to have been taking the Venom, right? Because there's no way he lifts a man, Batman, who's a little weighing over like 220, 230 pounds, plus his body armor, over his head with ease to break his back. Nolan gives us that iconic comic moment. Do you think he was on the Venom in that movie? Because they didn't address it at all.
Yeah, no, he was definitely on it. I think they mentioned something about that he was fed something to keep the pain at bay. So, I guess he was on, I don't know, some sort of strong painkillers or steroids or something to where he wasn't feeling anything. So he definitely gave him some extra strength.
I know. When I first saw that scene, I said, okay, there's no way. Come on, Nolan, you're better than that. Because they never flat out said in the movie, here is your Venom. Maybe we make this concoction called Venom, or drink this, or even allude to it. Just drink this, Bane, and you'll feel a lot better and stronger. But one thing's for sure is that you don't need the Venom, man. You're just naturally strong, man.
I need it just to get up in the morning.
we all do, man. Yeah, again, make sure to follow Raul on Dominguez, on X at Dominguez5. All right, we're talking about Stephon Castle starting unit and the decrease in production number-wise from Castle. Now, I don't think his confidence is shaken at all. I don't think so at all. He's so barren. He's still getting aggressive to the rim. Man, is it just me or the refs just giving him the rookie treatment, man? I mean, it's just brutal, Raul, to see him getting manhandled out there and no calls, Raul. What do you think about that?
Yeah, one thing that I was kind of surprised by when he was in the starting lineup, it seemed like he got a lot of calls when he was in the starting lineup, and I was a little bit surprised, because he was getting some calls against some veteran guards, and I was thinking, one, it's a credit to his aggressiveness, but also I was thinking, like, refs obviously respect his game. Usually, rookies, unless they get absolutely manhandled, they won't get a call, but he was getting calls pretty regularly. But yeah, it seems like it kind of gone down, and again, I think maybe that has to do with the fact that it doesn't really seem like he's a little unclear on what he needs to be doing, and rather than going to the rim and trying to score, the time seems like he's going to the rim and trying to dish it off, and some of his passes are getting stolen. Like he seems a little hesitant or a little unsure of what he's supposed to be doing in that reserve unit. I mean, he initially started off, obviously as a reserve, and then worked his way into the starting lineup. I'm not sure. Maybe he feels like he again. I don't think he has a lack of confidence, but I wonder if he thinks that he took a step back and that he needs to kind of reassess what he's doing.
Yeah. Now we closed out the first segment discussing the starting unit. What can we do? What could the Spurs do? I should say, because the Spurs definitely going to lean on me and Raul to make rotation calls here. But so we kind of agreed Devin is a no. You got to keep him out there. He's arguably the second best player on the roster. Put him out there. They ain't going to take out Wemby, so let's not even go there. So moving on. So that leaves Barnes, Champagnie, and Chris Paul. Let's start off with Chris Paul. I don't think they will do that. I mean, Paul would be upset to be benched for a rookie. I don't think that's going to fly. And if they want to keep him longer, beyond the season, it would just be a bad look. It would just be a bad look. And then the rest of the players across the NBA would be like, okay, you benched the point guard for an unproven rookie. I just don't think that will. And also, too, just the leadership factor. What Chris Paul can do, X's and O's wise. Be that forward general. They're not going to lose that. So we'll move on. That leaves Champagnie and Barnes. You started off with Barnes to close out that last segment. To me, he's probably the prime candidate. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, because I think you definitely Chris Paul out there. He provides that leadership, and Chris is making some incredible clutch shots. I mean, when the Spurs need a big basket, I mean, he's hitting threes, off balance threes and off balance jumpers. So you need Chris in the starting lineup. I think you need Jeremy just because of his activity and his rebounding defense. Devin, I think Devin's a good fit for that starting lineup, but I was just, Harrison's doing great, but I'm just wondering, if maybe Castle will give them a little bit more because of his defense and his activity, and his scoring ability. And again, that's, it looks like that's the future, Wemby and Castle. So, I would say maybe Harrison, and that's not a knock on Harrison, but when Castle was in that starting lineup, it just felt like it clicked, like something clicked with all of them.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so it seems to me it looks like Barnes might be the odd man out. Now, I don't see Barnes throwing the fuss. If that happens, I'd be shocked if he's upset by it. I think he would understand. And then also to talk about this coming off the bench. Imagine these players coming up. You got Barnes, Keldon, Blake and Bassey, and they would have Trey Jones. Yeah, they would have a formidable second unit. And then you bring in more leadership in the second unit, just with Barnes alone. So, but well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that and whoever starts, isn't the primary thing. It's always how they close. I mean, Manu was the sixth man, but come crunch time, he was always in that starting lineup. So, it's more about kind of who they feel can close the game. Starting the lineup is just to kind of get things going. And if you remember right, was it that they were struggling to start, and then they started turning things around. I think the second unit's in good shape regardless of who's in it right now. But I think they need someone to kind of help kickstart, the opening of the games.
Yeah. We did talk about Champagnie though. What do you think? I still want him on there simply for his 3-point threat. That's his role, and he knows it. Although he's doing a little bit more than just that. He slashed to the basket, they get some dunks, so it's good to see that. But there's a part of me where I don't want to see that 3-point threat lead the starting unit, because when it comes to 3-point shooting and the Spurs, it's not really been a big hit this season. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. That's what I'm saying. It's just so tough for Mitch. I mean, if you put Julian in there, then do you take Devin out? Castle in there, you take Barnes out. Like you put both of them, take Vessel, Devin, and Barnes out. I mean, it's a tough situation. I know I was reading some of the tweets online, or so I don't know if they're called X's now or whatever.
Yeah.
People were talking about, that the Spurs need to, think about the future, that they need to sit Barnes and Paul, and they're not going to be a part of the future. And I'm thinking that they need to be part of the starting lineup or get big rotation minutes, because even though they're not going to be here and, are likely not going to be here in 5 years, they're establishing, a foundation for them to move forward. I mean, without Barnes and Paul, Spurs would not have the record that they have now.
Yeah, for sure.
So this talk, you need to bench them and trade them or whatever. Like, no, you're missing the point of what they've helped get the Spurs to this point. You don't jettison them now. You need them either if not in the starting lineup, then heavy rotation minutes. But I'm sorry, but getting back to what you're saying about Julian, I mean, yeah, they definitely need his 3-point shooting in there. So, but it's just tough to. I'm glad that I'm not in Mitch's spot, because who do you give the starting minutes to? Who do you give the rotation minutes to? I mean, Malachi was doing well earlier in the season, and he started him out with rotation. Bassey as well, Blake Wesley. I mean, Sandro. I mean, there's only so many minutes to go around.
Yeah, it is, and Mitch talked about that after the win versus the Clippers, saying, there's just a lot of just rotation issues, right? Not in a bad way. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. He didn't shoot it down like, I know we're it sucks, but he's been very complimentary to the bench. I mean, he's told me, he sees the bench as a second weapon, like another weapon for them to use. And yeah, the Spurs are sitting pretty right now. They got depth. They got depth at guard. They got depth at swing guys. They have depth. And kind of wrap this up here, it seems to me if we're going to say, yeah, we got to bring in Steph Castle back, it'll have to be Barnes, right? I mean, ultimately, I think that's the one player that the Spurs can't afford to come off that first unit, huh, Raul?
Yeah, and like I said, it could be a situation just like Manu where he comes off the bench, and at the start of the game and then closes it, because he provides great leadership and steady hand, in those final minutes.
Yeah. And look, obviously, you get the minutes, you're more than likely to produce more. We understand that. Raul gets that. I get that. You all get that. But just to drive home the point of how Steph Castle benefits from increased play. Every time he gets between 10 to 20 minutes a game, he's played in those 7 games in that situation, but just, 10 to 20. And he's averaging 7.9 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 2.3 assists. You give him about 20 to 30 minutes a game. He's been in 15 situations like that. 9.9 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 3.9 assists. And I'm looking at his steals here, but gives you about a steal, solid steal, 1.1 per game. Now, give him between 30 and 40 minutes, forget about it. 9 games in those situations, 16.4 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and he gives you about, close to 2 steals a game. So, the numbers prove it there. He meets them right. Also, too, his shooting stays steady at 42%. So that's also another note there. And he connects a little bit more on the 3-point shot at 33 with increased minutes. Now, we get it. It goes for any player. Get more minutes, you get more burn, you get more chances to produce. We understand that. But there's a case, too. We're not even talking about the defensive end yet, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Defensively, bringing them back to that starting unit could help maybe cure what ails them, because what's been the big thing this season? Slow start. So there's that, Raul. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, I'm sorry, but first defensively, I mean, he just, disrupts a lot of the offense of the other team. He can guard the ball handlers, and sort of get them out of their offense. But the other thing that he does great, I'm not sure on his numbers, but he's really good at getting an offensive rebound, or defensive rebound. Keeping the opposition away from the offensive rebound.
Yeah.
Seemed like he always did a great job of getting it after a good defensive stand, and here lately that seems to be kind of a problem for the Spurs. They have great defensive stand, and they give up an offensive rebound.
Yeah,
Castle always seems to have a knack for getting that key defensive rebound, or tracking down a loose ball just with his activity. And I think the starting lineup could use that.
No, absolutely, yeah. And for those of y'all who like to crunch the numbers here, so far this season, he's averaging about 1 steal, not a block. He's not really been a shot blocker, although he did stuff some Clipper player pretty rowdy to close out the 2024 year in San Antonio. What else? Here's some more defensive numbers here. Well, he's averaging about 2 defensive rebounds per game. Credit to him for a rookie, and he plays kind of a clean game. He only averages about 1.7 fouls per game. I think that's something very. I might have to ask him that the next home game. About his ability to stay out of foul trouble. He does a pretty good job about that role.
Yeah, I actually brought that up to.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool.
Well, I brought it up to Mitch. I think I don't remember if it was pregame or postgame, but I just talked about that because it's one thing that impressed me with Castle. He's very physical. Defensively, but he even especially at that young of an age, with that lack of experience in the NBA, he's very good about being aggressive, but not being overly aggressive. Like a lot of rookies, you'll see them commit a lot of fouls because they're trying to be aggressive defensively, but Castle knows exactly how to be aggressive, but keep his hands down or keep his hands away from them. So I mean that's really impressive. The fact that he's able to, he understands defense. He knows exactly when to sort of reach in and when not to, and avoid that foul trouble.
Absolutely, yeah. This is also another little thing I might have to ask him too. Next time if he's available, he averages close to 3 fouls drawn, so he'll beat you in many fouls. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say that stutter step. I mean, that's just the best moves I've seen in a while.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and I think he said he just started doing that when he became a pro. He said he didn't really do that in UConn. He just did that when he became a Spur. So good move there, coach. Just to have to get him that little move in his bag there. He is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Make sure to follow him on X at Dominguez5. We got to hear from you. What do you think about this Steph Castle? Sure, he had the good game for the Clippers, but nevertheless, since coming back from injury and Devin Vassell sort of starting lineup, the numbers have been up and down. What do you think? Confidence shaken? Rookie wall? I don't think he's in the doghouse, so we can maybe scratch that out. But yeah, we got to hear from you. Again, we told you how to get a hold of Raul. Make sure to get a hold of Locked On Spurs by subscribing to Locked On Spurs over on YouTube and checking out the newsletter. Link is in the description below on the YouTube side of thing. When we get back, we're going to preview tonight's Spurs Nuggets game. Yep, on the road in Ball Arena. How the Spurs going to do? We'll talk about it. But first, we're going to talk about game time.
Hey, I want to talk to you about Game Time. Go to gametime.co right now. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets easier for your favorite live events that much better. Game Time filters out the fluff, so you only get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Hey, Game Time has it all. They have the super deal. They got seats view before you buy. They got curated deals to make it easier to find the best price on great seats. The lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. You will be pleasantly surprised with this app. Go get it right now. Game Time Picks, again, that's a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Hey, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back. We're here with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. And we're going to be looking at tonight's game, Spurs and Nuggets. The last road game, Raul, I think Mitch Johnson said the team got a taste of what it's like to be on the road against a good team. We're going to find out if that is true and the Spurs learning new lessons, because Denver, they're fourth in the West, Raul, but the record 19-13, it's not like the Spurs are far off from that, but should be a good test to see if this young team could take on a battle-tested championship team. Raul, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and Russell Westbrook is in the starting lineup for Denver now, and he's doing a tremendous job. And we talked about Castle earlier. I'd love to see Castle and Westbrook go at it. Because they're both very aggressive, and I think they would love sort of. I'm sure there'd be some yapping on Russell's part and a little pushing because he's a great competitor. But I know he would respect Castle, but I'm sure he'd love to test Castle. So that would be great. But the other thing is, like, Wemby always gets up for games against marquee centers. Giannis,
Joker, yeah,
Joel Embiid, Joker. I mean, Rudy Gobert. I mean, I'm really gonna look forward to seeing that because I think Wemby's gonna have a tremendous game. They have Denver at Denver, and then they host Denver on Saturday. So I think Wemby's gonna have two really big games.
Yeah, and then Joker seems to be the thorn on Wemby's side. This is becoming a pro. Joker, I think even Wemby has said it too. Nikola is the one big that really gives me fits. And I get it. It's a big boy that can move, shoot the threes. Not as swift as Wemby, but he's smart, and he'll get Wemby in positions where maybe Wemby does not like to be in. Now, the Spurs come into Ball Arena with the Nuggets winning 3 straight games and 2 straight home games. So they're feeling themselves right now, Raul. They're cooking right now.
Yeah,
this getting a groove there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Denver's a great squad. I know they've had some difficulties this season. But anytime you have the Joker, I mean, it's going to be a tremendous team. I mean, Joker, a little bit of different games, but he reminds me of Duncan. His ability to pass, his patience, his great fundamentals, his competitiveness, and the fact that Joker, doesn't really say much like Tim does, but he's just, really fiery. You can just see that he wants to win every single game. So, Denver's a great test for the Spurs, to find out where they're at. And, again, with Russ in that lineup, I'm interested to see, who's going to guard them and how they're going to do against them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, Castle's going to get some time on him. I could see Sohan getting time on Westbrook if Westbrook is getting going there. But that definitely is key. And obviously, we know Wemby and Joker, that's obviously the marquee matchup. But yeah, you got the sub matchups, who's going to check Westbrook, who's going to, knock down the threes, or who's going to rebound. I bring up rebounding because, get this stat, Raul, the Denver Nuggets have 13 straight games with more defensive rebounds than the opposition. So they're cleaning up the glass there. And this team, Spurs team, I should say, it's kind of an iffy on the rebounding this season. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that. Yeah, I mean, Spurs definitely need to concentrate on that more. Maybe do a better job boxing out and do a better job of crashing the board. It seems like a lot of times that they have that great defensive stand, and then they're not boxing out, or not keeping an eye on their man, and they sort of sneak in there for an extra rebounder. Yeah. And especially the long rebounds, as well. So that sometimes that comes down to hustle. So yeah, Denver is definitely going to take advantage of that rebounding to get it back to Joker and get it back to Russ.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is a big team. I mean, not just Nikola, it's Murray. It's they're just they're just big boys, and they're just a big physical team now. So I was curious. I said, well, what has Joker averaged in his career versus the Spurs? This is just mind-boggling. And he probably does this to all the teams, but I said, we're talking about the Spurs here. In 31 career games versus the Spurs, Joker has averaged 24.4 points per game, 9.9 rebounds, 7.6 assists. That's a near triple-double, Raul. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Just some players Joker does that thing to a lot of teams, but some teams, some players just seem to really do well against the Spurs, and that's why Pop loves Joker, just loves his fundamentals, and you can see why. I mean, Pop would love Joker to love against the Spurs, but
yeah. Now on the Spurs side of things, the Spurs are moving the ball around. They entered tonight's game with 6 straight games having more assists than the opposition. So they're really moving that ball around. That's good to see. And they're getting to the free throw line quite often now. In the last 4 games, Raul, they have more free throw attempts than their opponent. And that old Achilles heels is rearing itself again, Raul. In the last 4 games, the Spurs, they're not getting up to the threes. And I know there's a big argument right now about the 3-point shot ruined this NBA, but for San Antonio, 4 straight games with fewer 3-point attempts, so they're not getting their threes up. But nevertheless, if they're facilitating, they're getting to the free throw line. By the way, they also made more free throw shots than the opposition in 3 straight games. They're getting it done defensively. 3 straight games with more steals than the opposition. So there's a mix right now. The Spurs, I think, could come into tonight and really test the Denver Nuggets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and 3-point shot, Pop always talked about how he hates the 3-pointer, how he wishes that, the NBA would do away with that, but obviously they're not. So, 3-pointers are part of the game, so you got to take advantage of that. They got to hoist up more threes, but they also have to be obviously quality shots, so that comes down to ball movement and maybe chemistry issue as well. Still rotating some players around, still changing the minutes. So some players maybe still be trying to get used to where a player is, or where to put it for a certain player.
Absolutely. Well, by the way, the Spurs come into tonight's contest 17-6, and as Raul mentioned earlier, this is a have a mini series between Denver and San Antonio. It's in Denver tonight, in San Antonio tomorrow night. So Spurs will get plenty looks at the Denver Nuggets. Who knows? Maybe a play-in scenario. I don't know. I'm getting too ahead of myself here. Way too ahead of myself here, Raul. It's way too early for that. He is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Raul, what is cooking on your neck of the woods?
Just waiting for the, Spurs to get back and covered the Alamo Bowl, and that was a little disappointing. I thought it was going to be a great game with Colorado, but BYU just took it to them. So
did they?
But that's it. That's just kind of waiting for this stretch run with the Spurs. So
yeah. I think we're you and I are not going to be able to see the Spurs too much in San Antonio, right? Because I think their back end of the schedule is more road game, heavy road.
And then you got the games in Paris and as well.
Right. And that's this month, right? In January.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So, needless to say, Spurs fans, if the Spurs are in San Antonio, starting from this point moving forward, you might want to go get that ticket. They're not going to be in San Antonio as much as they were to start the new season. But he is, again, Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez Tinko. As always, we'd love to have him back. Maybe one day he'll hook me up with some venom. I could use some venom. And we won't tell anybody. You're just keep it between me. I'll give you a nice price for it, too. He's not a venom pusher, everybody. I'm just messing with him, okay?
Yeah, okay. You don't hate any mustache.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna walk into the conference room with that mask on, like boom, stomping in there. But anyway, again, Raul, we thank you for closing out Locked On Spurs this week, and we're not doing Raul because we know we go to him for the road games. We're not because I've been ignoring him. It's just because the schedule's been off to get Raul to come on. So I said I'll meet him in the middle. We'll do a pregame. But trust me, I already gave him the warning. I'll be bothering him a lot with the first of the road. So you'll know that he'll get those texts from me. Like, can you record tonight after the game? So we'll be doing that a lot more frequently. Again, follow him on X at Dominguez Cinco. And thank you all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Canstar Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. The Locked On Spurs newsletter is available. It's in the description below on the YouTube side of things. I cannot make it easy for you than literally writing LO Spurs newsletter and the link. It's completely free. Sign up today. So for Raul Dominguez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.